why people are members of this organization. Those of you who are here know what it does. It is the first responder to the first responders when the tragedy hits in our community of law enforcement and firefighters. We strive to be the first on the scene.
Our next guest knows an awful lot about the fire service, amongst other things, in the state of Minnesota. He's an avid car collector and loves vintage automobiles as well. He's a bridge player. He's a great addition to the board of directors of the Minnesota 100, although he's not an addition. He's been on for a long time. But he's also head of the state fire chiefs organization, Tom Brace. Tom?
John.
Welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here.
You know, you've been a member for a long time, and you see firsthand as the president of the Minnesota Fire Chiefs Organization the seriousness of what we try to address here.
If you can't imagine when you go to people and you present a check, and these are such tragic events, and obviously no one anticipates, when a life-taking event happens, and you're there presenting money as quickly as we possibly can.
You know, Tom, you and I were talking one time about a year ago, and you said something that stuck with me, and that is that a lot of these families appreciate much more that we just do it, even more than the amount of the money.
Right. It's here are some people that they don't know that are coming because they're concerned about their personal welfare, the welfare of the people that are suffering this tragedy.
What brought you to support the Minnesota 100, and why are you on the board?
Well, I've been on our Police Federation board for 18 years.
That's kind of like your union.
That's our union, yep. So we represent everybody through the ranks, officers, sergeants, lieutenants, and I came to know about the Minnesota 100 through them. What a great organization it was, and we thought it'd be great to have an active board member on our 100 board, and it's been a very rewarding experience.
Actually, the Minnesota 100 started as a result of a death on the line of duty. Officer Joe Pudlick, Minneapolis police officer, right in northeast Minneapolis, and was shot and died, unfortunately, in 1972. So we're so glad to have representatives of the Minneapolis Police Department, as well as the St. Paul Police Department and many others. Thank you for all of your contributions to our community, and thank you for serving on the board.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. I wonder if you could tell our viewers why you joined the Minnesota 100 and why you think it's a good idea for them to join.
Well, for me, it's a no-brainer. For $100 a year, I have the opportunity to take part in this great organization and all the good things that it does, supporting police and firefighters that are hurt or killed in the line of duty. As a citizen, that's all I can do is write my $100 check every year and know that I can make that kind of difference. You know, the other day I ran across a police officer that I was working with, and I put my hand on her shoulder only to feel the bulletproof vest. And what a different life I live versus what she has to go through. No, I don't have any bulletproof vests. All I get to do is just go write my check, and I know that I take part and make a difference.
Heidi, nobody knows better than you. How many members do we have approximately in the Minnesota 100?
Well, we mail out to about 350 members, but boy, we would really like to see that double, because when you do a couple payouts at $5,000 a piece, $10,000 goes really quickly, and that takes a lot of members to make that money, that flow.
How would they join, our folks watching?
Well, there's two ways, actually, you can join. Well, lots of ways you can join, but one is our website, which is Minnesota100club.com, Minnesota written out, and also to go ahead and mail into our P.O. Box at 18783, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, 55418, and we'd be more than happy to accept your check and acknowledge your membership with our neat little decal that goes on the back of your car.
And how long have you been with the Hennepin County Sheriff's Department?
I've been there about 19 years. It's going
19
on
years.
19 years now.
You've
Yes,
seen a lot of things happen, a lot of changes.
absolutely.
I know that you're a very staunch supporter of the Minnesota 100, and we really thank you for that and your contributions to our board of directors.
It's my pleasure.
Can you tell us why you support the Minnesota 100?
Sure. Well, you know, every day I put this uniform on, and you always have in the back of your head that possibly you might not make it home.
Yeah.
And there's so many, you want to help the community. And there's so many firefighters, officers, deputies that are injured and killed in the line of duty. And this is a productive way to help.
And they leave
tangible.
families.
Oh, absolutely, to help their families. And it's a great way to help. For a mere $100, you can become a member, $100 a year, and it helps tremendously.
Our next guest is, I think, the best printer in the state of Minnesota. His company's called Flair Printing in Northeast Minneapolis, and that's his job. That's how he makes his living. But this guy's an ultimate volunteer. He also serves on the city council of the city of Ramsey in Anoka County, fast-growing suburb. And his name is Mark Kuzma. Mark, welcome.
Welcome, John.
He's also a member of our board of directors. And why are you on the board? Why do you serve?
Well, John, I've been a board member now for a number of years, and really, when you take a look at our first responders, the job that they do, and now that I'm a councilman.
Yeah, you interface with them directly.
Yeah. We're I see them on the front line. We just had an incident not too long ago where I don't know if you saw. There was a car that ended up in the Mississippi River,
I
and
did
so
see
we
that.
had our public works group out there. We had our firefighters in the searching for, and the police, and we even had to. That was a day we had a snowstorm, so our public works department had to get out there and get the roads plowed. So I mean, we really have teamwork within it. So at any rate, bringing it back to the 100 Club, it just. If something happens to somebody, the importance of helping the families that's just something that is very important to me. And I had a house fire a number of years ago, and so I got to see again firsthand how they went into a building that's burning, and they saved my house. So I can't do enough.
Our next guest, I'm really proud to have here because he's a member of the Minneapolis Fire Department. Many members of my family were firefighters, including my father. And so it's especially nice to have a member of the fire service here. Reed Wilson, Minneapolis firefighter for 14 years. He's a captain. He's kind of a recent addition to our board of directors, and we're very proud to have him. Reed, welcome.
Well, thank you, John.
14 years.
14 years, yeah, and new to the board, and I'm very honored to be a part of this organization that is it's just fantastic all the way around. I can't imagine spending $100 a better way. I've seen the effect it has on the families that this group has contributed to in the hardest time of their lives, and it just makes me very proud to be associated with such a fine group.
And by the way, Reed and all the other members of our board of directors contribute $100 a year as well. And so they put their money where their mouth is, so to speak. And we're so glad to have you, Reed, and so glad to have you encourage people to join the Minnesota 100, because it is important, and we are able to reach out and help a lot of families, aren't we?
Absolutely, it has a real profound effect on them in the worst time of their life.
My next guest is an old colleague of mine and a very dear friend. He has been a Hennepin County Commissioner. He's served in many different volunteer organizations. And he is presently a businessman in Minneapolis and a very successful one and a good friend to the Minnesota 100. A board member for a long time now, Mark Stingwine. Mark?
Oh, John, it's great being here.
Well, it's good to have you here. Everything going good?
It's going really well. You know, we live in the greatest country on the planet, and you know, this is the time when civilization for thousands of years have looked forward to. And a lot of people take it for granted. You know, life is so easy and so abundant right now.
Well, I know you've been a board member of the Minnesota 100 for some time now. And why do you support the 100?
Well, it's the women and men that we that we honor, and we pay the surviving families. You know, John, if you think about it, you and I both live in the city, and you know, there's a lot of activity in the city. And without those protectors, both fire and police, I mean, these
And
are
first responders.
Well, first responders. You know, it's as simple as, if you think, when we're the ones running out of the building, they're the ones
Running
going
in.
into the building. And
Good point.
To me, that's a big difference, and that's why I'm honored to be part of this organization.
Back with a guy who has the best of two worlds. He's a Harvard-educated lawyer who gets to live in Minnesota. Bob Younghans. Bob's been a volunteer in so many organizations and been very successful in his own professional life, but very kindly serves on our Minnesota 100 Board of Directors. Bob, welcome.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
So tell us about your involvement with the Minnesota 100 and why
I'm involved. I think it's probably the best organization I belong to in terms of having
That's a lot of organizations.
That's a lot of organizations, but in terms of having a very focused purpose for a very needy reason. You can't imagine a more stressful situation than having a loved one injured or killed in the line of duty. And we owe so much to our first responders. The beauty of what they do and the bravery of what they do for us to keep us safe and to keep us well and unharmed is just a small thing that we can do in response to help them out when they're in dire need.
Our next guest is a representative of the East Metro area and a very active one. He, along with being an officer of the St. Paul Police Department, he is the president of the Emerald Society, which is a wonderful group of Irish-American police officers, a lot of them from St. Paul and Ramsey County, but there's from all over the state as well. The Emerald Society is also a member of the Minnesota 100, and a very generous one at that. And so we want to thank our colleague from the city of St. Paul for taking off time today to come and visit us. We're very proud to have you, Dave McCabe, and thank you for serving on our board.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you, I know that you are a big supporter of the Minnesota 100,
Yes.
Both through the Emerald Society, which you're the president of, and as a police officer in St. Paul.
Yes.
So can you tell us why you are a member?
You know, it's, as president of the Emerald Society is how I became familiar with what the Minnesota 100 Club is and what the 100 Club does. And truly what strikes me about the 100 Club and what I think is very unique is it's mostly, you know, citizens that are members, that are the supporters, that are the donators to this club, which is pretty unique. As you mentioned before, I'm president of the Emerald Society, and that's compiled mostly of law enforcement throughout the state.
Yeah, and it's a great organization. The Emerald Society does a lot of good for people.
We have 800 members throughout the state, but like I said, most of them are law enforcement. So in this organization, what I think is what is really neat is that it's the citizens stepping forward saying, hey, we want to help you in your time of need, which to us is it's a very important, it's a very emotional thing, and it's you know, we don't do this job to be thanked, we don't do this job to you know, receive these sort of benefits, but you know, when it does happen, it certainly is emotional, and it's very nice to have.
I know Dave was personally involved in an award we gave to a St. Paul police officer recently, which was a really tough kind of thing to do, and we want to thank you for making that contact for us.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, my friend Dan King, colleague, coworker, friend, He was shot in the line of duty, and because of that injury, he's no longer going to be a police officer. And if you know Dan, that's a very hard thing for him to go through.
That's a very tough thing to happen, and you know better than anybody what that does to families.
Yes.
And so we want to thank you for serving on the Minnesota 100. We have a lot of fun together too. We got a great bunch of people, so it isn't just all tragedies. It's a wonderful group of people. And by the way, all board members, including the two of us, pay our $100 a year. And we hope the people out watching this will join as well.
Looks like security is standing by with the victim. An update on the loss is fine.
My next guest is a longtime member of the Board of Directors of the Minnesota 100. He's the former president of the Minneapolis City Council. He's been actively involved in so many different groups. He's a really good singer. He's in the chorus in several different clubs. And his name is Louis DeMars, and former council member, City Council President Louis DeMars. Member of the Board of Directors, thank you very much for coming, Louis.
Well, you're welcome. It's happy to be here. We're having a great year with the Minnesota 100. It's, one of the reasons I'm involved is just the excitement that we create in families in a very sad time of the family, but it's a way to say thank you to them for putting up with all they have to put up with as their respective officers serve either in the fire or police department.
That's a really good point, Louis, because I think sometimes when we see these unfortunate situations, I think the recipients, the families, are more grateful the fact that somebody cares even than the amount.
Yeah, no, most people don't understand what families have to go through with, my brother-in-law is a firefighter, and I don't think he's ever made Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner through the whole thing. There's always a call. Yeah. He's in a volunteer department, and if you're a police guy, I mean, the family puts up with a lot.
They sure do.
It's nice to say thank you, and that's what we do at Minnesota 100. Thank you for all the things that the police and fire do for us and make our lives better.
So we have to bring this all out at once.
I need you to go ahead and lift up down here.
Lift up with that. Yep.
Lift
Ready?
up. All right.
The minus button by your thumb there.
Back up just a little bit, guys.
Our next guest is a consummate volunteer. He's volunteered for so many different organizations that do a lot of good for the citizens of the Twin Cities. I know he's a member of the Exchange Club. He's a member of our board of directors, and he also serves as our treasurer of the Minnesota 100 Club, one of the most important jobs we have. He knows where all the nickels and dimes and dollars are, and we're really lucky to have him. RJ Maliner. RJ, welcome.
John, thank you.
And what do you think about our organization? What's been your experience?
Well, my experience has been very positive with this organization. I've been a member since 1985, and I've been serving on the board since 2003. And as treasurer, I know that this is a very strong organization financially, good reserves. However, we're always looking for new members, fundraising to increase our reserves so we can increase our benefits to the firefighters and law enforcement personnel.
What are the qualifications for being a member of the Minnesota 100?
The only qualification is to fill out an application, write out your check for $100, and you'll become a member.
That's right. Everybody, including the members of the board of directors, has to give $100 a year.
That is correct.
That's where we get our main money. Then RJ is also very much involved with 2 events we have a year. We have a wonderful dinner at Jack's Restaurant, and we have a golf tournament in the fall. So in the spring we have the dinner, in the fall we have the golf tournament, and RJ is really, really busy during those times. And would you encourage the people out here that are watching us to join the Minnesota 100?
Most definitely. It's a wonderful organization. It's a wonderful cause.
So plug out smells good and take your masks off.
But the reason why I love the Minnesota 100 is it helps the families of those who have fallen. And these are the families that have shared their loved ones.
Hi, we're back. And we have a really wonderful family here from South Minneapolis. They've been involved with the Minnesota 100, and they are here every year and been strong supporters. And more importantly, their father and their husband died in the line of duty as a Minneapolis firefighter and was a recipient of ours. And they've been kind enough to join us here tonight to tell us a little bit about why they think the Minnesota 100 is a good idea. Linda and Mike Duluth.
Well, it's been great for our family so far, and should be great for plenty of other families. And it's been a great cause and very important for our family, and will continue to be for a while.
And Linda, I know that your family went through a horrible time.
Yes.
When your husband passed away, a Minneapolis firefighter, great guy, and your experience then started with the Minnesota 100.
Yes, it
What
did.
year was that?
It was 2007 when my husband Barry died, and it was, as you said, a horrible experience to have to go through. And to have the support of an organization like Minnesota 100 is so important to the family to know that there's people there that support them in all facets, and then you know that there's just somebody who remembers that person and what they gave for the community.
The effort is kind of worth more than the money, isn't it? I mean, the money is not that much, but the effort, I think, is what people recognize.
It's the effort, it's the community recognizing the importance of these first responders.
Yeah.
It's the community sitting there and standing up and saying, you know, we understand what they've given their lives for our safety, and to know that the effort of these people and the compassion that they feel for these first responders, it's so important to the family, and we carry that with us to this day.
There's so much rust on this, it may not work. See, it just lifted the car up. That was so rusty, that's alright, fine. Close it down.
Well, here we are at our big banquet. It's probably the biggest banquet we ever had. And it's just another indication how people support the Minnesota 100. And we've got one of our best supporters, one of our longest supporting people here, former commissioner of Anoka County, racing commissioner, commissioner of everything, Dan Earhart. Dan,
hey,
welcome.
John, good. Congratulations on another great event here.
Thank you.
And you know, this is such a unique organization. You know, I don't know of any other organization that can respond as quickly to some really, really dire needs of people that have got some real difficulties.
Would you encourage people to join the
Oh,
Minnesota 100?
I've been a member of this, been very proud to be a member of this for years, and I would strongly encourage people to join this organization. There's no waste in the money. The administrative costs are virtually zero, and they do take care of some very, very needed circumstances that have where a policeman, a fireman, people in public safety get hurt, or unfortunately they may be killed in their line of duty, and they need some help immediately. This organization can deliver those kinds of needs immediately, and it's just wonderful.
Cable and artifacts of East Grand Street for apartment 1011. Looks like
Hi, we're back again at Jack's Restaurant, the big Minnesota 100 dinner. And we have one of our best, very best supporters, member for a long time, and a guy who really goes out and recruits other people for this important work. Wes Robinson. Wes, thank you for being here.
It's very easy to recruit people to this club. All you have to do is tell them what it's about.
You had a big party in Brainerd, and you've got a lot of people from Brainerd to join the Minnesota 100.
I was very lucky. I moved up to that area. Most people didn't know about it.
Where are you in that area?
I'm on the Gull Lake chain.
Okay.
And so some of my friends started asking me about the sticker in my window. So I explained what it was about, what we do. Raise money for families of fallen officers, fire, game wardens, police officers. And they said, "Oh, you've got to tell people up here about this."
Well, there's-
so I started telling people up there. They
There's
all
nobody
joined.
better than Wes. He's working. I think he's got 3 tables out there tonight, and he's just a terrific guy and a great supporter of the Minnesota 100. Wes, thank you so much for coming.
I'm just lucky to be in a good organization.
Thank you.
Really bar, and see where these 2 females who were antagonized her. Hey, that hair gel in that green bag is mine. Green black,
My next guest is one of the most important law enforcement officers in the Midwest. He's a leader in law enforcement and a leader in our community. He served as a Minneapolis police officer. He served as the chief of our crime unit, state of Minnesota. He's been a senator in the state, our state assembly. He's just an outstanding guy and a really good friend. Sheriff Rich Stanek of Hennepin County. Hi, Rich.
Hey, John. Thanks for having me here today.
Well, thanks for being such an important part of our community, but especially thank you for your help with the Minnesota 100.
You know, I think absolutely the world of the Minnesota 100 Club, the men and women who are dedicated to supporting the men and women of public safety, firefighters, police officers, emergency medical services personnel, those that stand behind us so we could do our jobs, absolutely phenomenal.
You started out in Northeast and what? You went on the police department, right?
Yeah, I'm a good Northeast Minneapolis kid. Born and raised. I started out with Minneapolis Police. I had a chance to serve in the state legislature, chaired the crime and public safety committees, appointed by the governor to be the Commissioner of Public Safety and Director of Homeland Security, and then ran and got elected sheriff in 2006 and again in 2010.
I know you've been an active member of the Minnesota 100, and you go way back with it. Why did you join?
You know, back when I was a Minneapolis cop back in 85, 86, I joined the Minnesota 100 Club both as a supporter and as a fan. A supporter because $100 a year is something easy for me to do to support the men and women in law enforcement and public safety. But more importantly, having a chance to serve on the board and making some of these decisions and seeing the great work that they do day in and day out on behalf of those who protect us across Minnesota means so much.
Well, thank you very much, Rich. And I know Rich wanted to join me in telling you can look up our website, how you can get in touch with Sheriff Stanek and I, and join the Minnesota 100. As Rich said, it's just $100 a year, and it goes so far and helps so many. Rich, thanks a lot.
Thanks, John.